What if I told you some stories you need to hear to believe?
Everywhere you went, Dan and Dave, Dan and Dave.
And that's these two athletes that are going to go to the Olympics this year, and it's going to be settled in Barcelona.
When Reebok approached Dave and I, the first thing both of us said, neither one of us are on this team yet.
The thought never, ever crossed my mind that Dan nor Dave would not make that Olympic team.
The all-new 30 for 30 podcast. Subscribe now on the ESPN app or Apple Podcasts.
30 for 30 podcast is presented by Mini. We're finding the best sports stories for you right now. And to do that, we're behind the wheel of the new Mini Countryman, the biggest Mini yet.
Please proceed to the highlighted route.
To find great sports stories, you have to get out into the world and follow your instincts. That's where the new Mini Countryman's all-wheel drive comes in handy. With all four, we can chase down a story in the city, the country, and most places in between. No matter what story you're chasing, the new Mini Countryman will help you find it. It's available now, and so are 30 for 30 podcasts.
This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A. Welcome to the latest edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you as I love to do every weekday over the airwaves of ESPN Radio. That's 98.7 FM New York City. That's 710 ESPN LA. And, of course, nationwide over the airwaves of ESPN Radio, Sirius XM style, Channel 80. Number to call up, as always, is 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. Got a jam-packed show coming your way. The one and only Oscar De La Hoya, promoter extraordinaire, former 10-time world champion. He will be in the house with us at the top of hour number 2 to talk about this mega fight coming up in September. Saul Canelo Alvarez versus Triple G Gennady Golovkin, September 16th to be exact. Can't wait to talk to him about that, along with a few other things pertaining to the world of boxing. Got a lot of college football to get into. Got some NBA stuff to get into as well, because we're talking about the Cleveland Cavaliers reportedly looking to shop their number one their first-round pick that could end up becoming the number 1 overall pick, because it was a pick that belonged to the Brooklyn Nets. And so ultimately it was in Boston's hands. Now it's in Cleveland's hands, and if Cleveland decides to get rid of it, particularly with Boston in position to have the number 1 overall pick. With Brooklyn in position to have the number 1 overall pick, a pick they forfeited to Boston that now belongs to Cleveland. Cleveland could end up having the number 1 overall pick if they're willing to package that along with Kevin Love. What do you think they could get in return? What do you think they should get in return in order to let it go? We'll be talking about that as the show progresses today. But the first order of business is news that Andrew Luck is going to miss week 1. I could get in Aaron Donald and go off about how the Los Angeles Rams still haven't signed him, which is utterly ridiculous considering the fact that he's one of the top 10 players in the National Football League, and the fact that they still haven't gotten him signed is utterly ridiculous, but I won't get into that right now because I'm in a good mood. I could get into the New York Jets and how pathetic and anemic they appear to be at this particular moment in time. I mean, why the hell do you trade Sheldon Richardson to the Seattle Seahawks for a wide receiver when you don't have a damn quarterback to throw him the football? I could get into that as well, but I'm in a good mood. And I certainly don't want to just irritate myself to the point where I end up going absolutely positively ballistic because of it. I'm going to try to wait until I at least get into the heart of the show before I lose my damn mind. But as my producers, Miss Kat Pastor, the one and only Jonathan Winthrop would tell you, I am not in a very good mood when I consider the level of ineptitude that's raking through the NFL from coast to coast, evidently in New York and L.A. So I'm going to be patient. I'm going to hold off on going off about such things. And let me not front. It's not just that I'm patient. I also happen to be sick. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I got to just amp up the water and the hot tea and make sure I could protect my throat, because I got one of them damn sinus infections that's messing with my throat and making it scratchy and all of that other stuff. But I am here. Day after Labor Day. And thanks again to my man Dan Grassa for filling in yesterday for me as admirably as he always does, being a fantastic radio host that he is. But let me get back to this deal with Andrew Luck. See, ladies and gentlemen, when you consider the fact that Andrew Luck can't go for week 1, and you consider the fact that the Indianapolis Colts traded this wide outdoor set to the New England Patriots of all teams, okay, for Jacoby Brissett, a third-string quarterback who probably deserves to be a backup because he's good enough to do at least that, it gives you some indication of how tough things may be. It gives you some indication about where things may actually lie. And I say all of that to say to you, that tells me that Andrew Luck may not be ready to go. And it's going to be far beyond week one. I just suspect that. You had the entire offseason to get ready for this season. You had the entire offseason. Last year he passed for over 4,200 yards, 31 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. He didn't look like he was on suicide watch for a change because he wasn't being sacked to the degree that he had been sacked in years past. Andrew Luck has not played every game of his NFL career. In 5 years in the National Football League, he's been sacked 156 times. He's been hit about 400 times. This dude, because of Grigson, a former GM, and his inability to put a stout offensive line in front of Andrew Luck, has been on virtual suicide watch, for crying out loud. But somehow, some way, he's been upright enough to get to 3 playoff appearances, 3 consecutive 11-5 seasons his first 3 years in the National Football League. But right now, if you look at him, things are not great. Things are a bit tough. And the reality is that we don't know what the status of Andrew Luck may be moving forward. And if that's your situation, what do you do? And what do you think's going to happen in the AFC South? I, for one, think Houston's going to win the division. I believe that Deshaun Watson's going to do his thing. I take that back. It's a toss-up between Houston and Tennessee because I'm a Marcus Mariota fan. He's turned me into a fan. And I'm not ruling out anything with the Tennessee Titans. With DeMarco Murray and Derrick Henry. With Mariota. I think that they can make some noise on the offensive side of the ball. Defense, they're not too shabby. Let's see what they do. And in the end, what it comes down to is plain and simple. Andrew Luck, his career might not be in jeopardy, but you know what? I suspect that 2017 may be. The 2017 season. I'm not ruling it out. I'm not being definitive about it, but I do think it's worth noting. 866-729-ESPN. It's 866-729-3776. Another thing I want to get into. I got to get into some college football. See, Sam Darnold wasn't that impressive to me for USC this weekend. Now, everybody talks about how Josh Rosen was so impressive. Ladies and gentlemen, he wasn't that damn impressive to me. And I like him. And I think he could play. And I like the battle that's going on in Los Angeles between Rosen and Darnold at UCLA and USC respectively. I really, really do. Because both of them are in the Heisman picture. And after Rosen threw for damn near 500 yards and 4 touchdowns, some would say he deserved it. To me, it wasn't that impressive. I saw at least 3 passes that should have been picked off. See, to me, the story behind it all, and it pains me to say it because I love this man. He's been a guest on this show. I love talking to him. I respect him. I think he's a hell of a coach, hell of a recruiter. But I got to look at Kevin Sumlin at Texas A&M right now. Does he deserve to be fired? No. Does he deserve to be on a hot seat? And does the pressure need to be amped up for his team to show up and produce on his behalf? You're damn right it does. Ladies and gentlemen, this transcends college football. It transcends the SEC conference. You know where this resonates with me so profoundly? What the hell are you doing losing a 34-point lead with 16 minutes and 38 seconds? What the hell is that about? All you got to do is run the damn football, milk the clock. That's all you got to do. For about the 3rd or 4th consecutive year, Texas A&M's defense stinks. I don't give a damn what anybody say. You're up 44-10. 44. I don't care that your starting quarterback got hurt. I don't care. I don't care that this dude, Nick Starkel, got hurt. He's a redshirt freshman, for crying out loud. I don't care. You got spotted 34 points. Your defense should be able to hold on to that, especially in the final 16 minutes. But UCLA comes back and scores 35 unanswered points. Don't give me Josh Rosen. That's your defense. That's your defense. And it's coaching. Because run the damn football, take the air out of the ball, and call it a day. There's been so much time left. How do you let that happen? That's just how I feel about it. I noticed a few other things along the weekend for college football. Liberty beating Baylor. Ain't that some irony? Liberty beating Baylor. Religious school beating college football's definition of Satan. That's right, I said it. When you consider 52 different allegations of rape, when you consider the days of Dave Bliss, a former basketball coach who tried to frame one of his players in terms of labeling them a drug dealer to disguise the fact that he was paying them after one of his other players murdered that player. When you consider the history of Baylor, if there was a program that deserved a death penalty more, I want to know what it is. I want to know what it is. And somehow they lost to the religious right in college football, which is that of liberty. Ain't that something? I also saw HBCU, Howard University, led by Cam Newton's little brother. 45-point underdogs would still beat UNLV. Watched Florida State lose its quarterback. I watched Alabama roll as the Tide does. And I'm wondering why nobody's talking about Clemson. That's just me.
Want to be a part of the show? Hit Stephen A. up weekdays from 1 to 3 Eastern at 866-729-3776.
You're listening to Love Advice with Leanne. Caller, you're on the air.
Hi, Leanne. Long-time listener, first-time caller. Why, in your professional opinion, do you never take my calls off the air?
Is this Carl?
Yep, it's Carl. I mean, we had a few dates. Everything was great. I thought,
Well, when you switch to Geico, you could save a lot of money on car insurance.
Okay, awesome.
You should call them.
I will.
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
For those on the East Coast, particularly in the South, the U.S. is bracing for Hurricane Irma, IRMA, Irma. A monster Category 5 hurricane is heading to Florida later on in the week. Let's pray for those individuals there. Let's hope that people are evacuating and making sure they're as safe as they can possibly be. These hurricanes are no joke, as Hurricane Harvey displayed in Houston. It's no joke. Let's keep that in mind. 866-729-ESPN. That's 866-SAY-ESPN. You're listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio. Let's get to the phones. Let's go to Glenn in Harlem. You're live with Stephen A. What's up, Glenn? How are you?
How's it going, Stephen A?
I'm all right. Talk to me.
I disagree with you on that Philip Dorsett trade, the Jacoby Brissett trade, to the Colts.
What do you disagree about?
I think Jacoby Brissett is better than anything the Colts have right now. He's under the tutelage of Tom Brady. Like, I'll take anybody who's learned from Tom Brady over whoever they have down there right now. I think he'll be good. First
of all, you think he'll be good. You don't know because all you have is 2 games and only one he played well. Number 2, you're right. It ain't saying much to say that he might be the best option they have because he's better than Scott Tolzien. Okay, that's number 2. Number 3, we have to take into account the offensive line, how we feel about that, the running game, how we feel about that. Plus, you got rid of Dorsett. You still got Hilton and a couple of others, but the reality is that you got to wonder about what's going on. Now, I will say this. I saw the GM Chris Ballard talking yesterday, and listen, it's just body language, demeanor, et cetera, et cetera. I like the fact that he's there. He just seems to be all about football, all about his business, whereas Grigson seemed to be all about Grigson and Grigson's ego. Okay? This is the kind of stuff that they said. I don't know Grigson personally, but that's what they said about him. And with this guy, you just get the impression it's no nonsense. It's all business. He could give a damn about the personal accolades that come in his direction or anything like that. Ballard, the GM for the new GM in Indianapolis, seems to be about handling his business. And I like that for Indy. And I specifically like that for Andrew Luck because the fact that he's been sacked 156 times and that he's been hit damn near 400 times, considering his value to that franchise, that's a damn travesty. It really, really is that you didn't prioritize protecting him as much nearly as much as you should if you was Indianapolis. Now, I'm sure you agree with me on that point, Glenn.
I do. Andrew Luck, he's one of the top quarterbacks in the league, I think, if you give him a good offensive line. But I think Jacoby Brissett, because of his ability to move in the pocket, he'll work for the Colts.
Got you. I appreciate the call, man. Thank you. Let's go to Jim in New Jersey. You're live with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. Jim, what's going on, man? How are you? Good afternoon. Good morning.
Stephen A., I'm doing great, man. Thanks for taking my call.
No problem.
All this college football talk going on, Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen, I'm kind of curious as to why nobody's talking about Lamar Jackson, reigning Heisman Trophy winner, the baddest man in college football, in my opinion. And, nobody's really bringing up his name. He had a pretty good week.
Well, first of all, a couple of things that you need to recognize. Number one, on First Take, my show every weekday morning on ESPN, First Take, I picked Lamar Jackson to repeat as the Heisman Trophy winner. That's number one. Number two, I do understand why those, however, do not. There hasn't been a repeat Heisman Trophy winner since Archie Griffin at Ohio State in the mid-'70s, 74, 75, I believe. Number three, Lamar Jackson tailed off at the latter part of last season. They lost their final 3 games, including the bowl game. Number four, you got a game in 2 weeks against Clemson where he's going to have an opportunity to showcase his skills and his skill set and what he brings to the table. Not that he hasn't already, but the fact is that when you look at the championship picture, nobody's talking about Lamar Jackson because nobody's talking about Louisville.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I mean, he went out there. He had a pretty good game. I think you bring up an excellent point that they did tail off towards the end of that season, which I think, is still fresh in people's minds.
No question.
Which is probably why they're not putting them to the forefront.
Well, that's not because, the bottom line is, listen, they expect, you got to remember, they could be mentioning Josh Rosen more. They haven't because not much is expected of UCLA. But you hear Sam Darnold because USC opened the season ranked as the number 3 team in the country.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you're going to be top 3 and you got a playoff system that's in play, right, and you don't have to open the season against Alabama, you damn right people going to be talking about you. See my point?
That's right. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, man. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it. Let's go to Jordan in Washington. You're live with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. What's up, Jordan?
Hey, Stephen A. A few things. Number one, I don't know if you guys heard on National News right now. We're going through a fire scare.
No, stop. I need you to roll up your window so my listeners can hear you clearly because we can't hear you right now. Go ahead. Get all that wind out of there. Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Or stand still, one or the other.
Okay. There's a scare right now with us having a big fire down here, so I want to give a shout out to all families that evacuating, and it may hit my area too. So I got to take my kids out of school.
Understood.
Here in a little bit.
Understood. My prayers are with you and your family. Go ahead, bro.
Number two, I think my Bears is going to do all right this year. I see us winning at least 7 games, but not making the playoffs because I believe in Mitchell Trubisky. And that game on Saturday, do you feel that Alabama is going to start out a little slow because they only won by 7? Mm-hmm. They had a little trouble in the first half and then brought it home in the second. So what do you think?
Let me tell you what I think about Alabama. Knicks, I knew their defense was going to make some noise. Do you know why, Jordan? Because Nick Saban came on this show and sat right next to me and called his defense soft. He said, I need some mean guys. He said, and you got to have a little nastiness to you. Matter of fact, Kat, if you can, John, if you can find that sound of what Nick Saban said, basically, I'm paraphrasing here because I don't think he used the word soft, but he challenged their toughness sitting right here next to me, Jordan. I know those players were listening to their coach on this show. I have no doubt that those players were listening to their coach on this show. And they heard Nick Saban say that about him, and they've been chomping at the bit to get their hands on Florida State and DeAndre Francois because they were like, this brother, he's not on this level. We like him. He can play, but he ain't on this level. That's number one. But I will say this. I got serious questions about Alabama's offense. Not the offensive line. Not Ridley, because we all know what he could do. But this kid Hurts. Look, man, I know he can play. I know he's athletic. I respect the hell out of him. But as a passer, I see nothing elite about him. And that is what I am waiting to discover about this. He's got heart. He's not scared. He can run with the football. He is not a scrub, Jordan. I'm not taking anything away. But when you know that you play for the Tide, Roll Tide, at least give me McCarron type ability. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At least give me that.
Well, I got a homegirl who likes to call me out all the time, and her team is Florida State.
Right.
So to you, Jane, woo!
Well, listen. We ain't doing no shout-outs here. We ain't doing no shout-outs here, man, unless it's shout-outs for the right reasons. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, if you're going to shout out a lady, she need to be somebody special to you, not just somebody who's getting on you about a football team. You understand what I'm saying? You don't get to do that. You don't get to do that on the show. Is she special, Jordan?
Yeah, she's my homegirl. So
we go back and forth. Your homegirl.
We go back and forth, have fun.
I don't make that. Listen, I don't even want to know the details. I get it. I understand. That's all I'm going to say. In terms of Alabama in this regard, guess what? I'm looking at the schedule. You got Texas A&M, and after what I saw Texas A&M do defensively, I'm not sold on them. You got a home game. It's Tennessee. We saw what you did to Tennessee at home. On the road last year. Imagine what you're going to do against them October 21st. And then you got LSU at home, too. I expect it to be a tough game, but I got to admit to you, the only real tough game that I see on Alabama's schedule is on the road, the last game of the season, Thanksgiving. November 25th, that is. That's the way I'm looking at it. I don't see anything that tough on Alabama's schedule. I expect Alabama to go undefeated into the playoffs. I don't expect them to lose a game this year. I really don't. Sorry. Appreciate the call, though. 866-729-ESPN. More of the Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN in a minute.
Guess what? You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it! Let's get back to the phones at 866-SAY-ESPN. That's 866-729-3776. Dave in Pennsylvania. Holla at me, man. What's up?
Yeah, I got two questions, Stephen A.
Yes, sir.
Number one, I feel like you do about Clemson and Tosh Boyd. I think they're just so eager to get the quarterback out of there, and they want Trevor Lawrence in there already, and he's still in high school. And the second thing is, do you think after watching Michigan's defense this weekend, think they can keep it up all season?
Well, when it comes to Clemson, I don't have any questions. I think Dabo Swinney has established his greatness as a college coach, and his program is one of the great programs in college football. I expect him to be back in the playoff picture this year. I expect him to be in position to compete for the national championship. Wouldn't surprise me at all if there were a rematch between him or a trilogy between him and Alabama. That's number one. Number two, as it pertains to Michigan, I got to tell you, I watched some of this Michigan-Florida game. And a couple of things, came to my mind. Number one, Florida got beat up. They got pushed around. Jim Harbaugh doesn't have the greatest personnel, but I got to admit to you, he's got some rough riders. And what they do is they test your heart because they come at you and they test your manhood. What he does with what he has available to him is what I find so very impressive about Jim Harbaugh. Because I look at him and I say, you know what? This dude is no joke. He makes sure that his boys are always ready to go and they're ready to play smash mouth football. And he dares you to do something about it. And I love that about Jim Harbaugh. I really, really do. I think it's incredibly impressive that he is that way. But I will say this. I don't know what Michigan is yet because they went against Florida, who suspended 10 players. And I'm here to tell you this. I think McElwain did it on purpose. Because that's what I'm going up against Michigan, and I lose to Michigan, but I suspend 10 players. Now, granted, the players are going to be suspended anyway because there's an investigation going on as to what their behavior, their behavioral tendencies and what they've been doing and what have you. But if you suspend the 10 players and you lose the game, then we're all able to sit back and say, well, you know what? McElwain suspended the players, and because he suspended the players, we don't know what Michigan really went against, and we don't know what Florida really is. So it could end up helping him for a game that he was probably going to lose any damn way. That's what I view at. That's what I view. So it's very difficult for me, Dave, to tell you what Florida is made of right now. Time will tell. I mean, look at this. They got Michigan. They got Tennessee in a couple of weeks. They got Kentucky after that. That's a road game. They got LSU, on October 7th, Texas A&M on October 14th, Georgia on October 28th. So there's a 3-week span where you got LSU, Texas A&M, Georgia. we should learn something about Florida at that particular moment in time. Plus, they close out the season against Florida State on November 25th. We'll see what happens.
Both teams are suspect now.
Say what?
Both teams could be very suspect.
That's right.
Now.
It definitely could be, but we shall see. We shall see, because, again, I think McElwain didn't want us to see his team on purpose. I don't know, but I suspect that was a motivation behind it. That's just what I believe. That's where I stand, bro. That's where I'm at with that.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate the call. No problem. Earl in New Jersey, you're live with Stephen A. Talk to me, Earl.
Coming straight up.
Earl, turn off that radio and talk to me, bro. Go ahead.
Hey, what's up, Stephen A?
Go ahead, buddy.
I had a question.
Yes, sir.
I got a question. Everyone's asking about, boycott the NFL. Asking all African Americans to boycott the NFL due to Kaepernick situation and everything. Don't go to the games. Don't watch or anything else.
Who's asking that? Who's asking that?
You've seen Spike Lee, his fraternity brothers, and just a host of other people on my social pages are saying don't watch the games, protest, boycott, and everything else. But I read another article from a guy who worked in the NFL who said that if no one even showed up at a game, the owners are still paid due to the TV and merchandising contract.
That is absolutely correct.
Split $9 billion.
That's absolutely
for the next 4 or 5 years.
Well, listen, the television deal alone gave them $244 million apiece. You do realize that, right?
So then, therefore,
I should say the television revenue alone. It was television plus additional revenue, but they had a check cut for each of them at $244 million apiece, literally a year ago.
And that's without anybody going in the stands and buying it, and so they get that guarantee.
I'm quite sure some people going into the fans had something to do with it. So let's say, for example, if nobody went to the games, right? They might have got $230 million instead of $244. I mean, what do you want me to say?
So to boycott the games and to do all this and do all that is not really going to hurt the owners.
Let's also be honest. Ain't nobody listen, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. People, listen, you've got pastors evolving their sermons around the NFL schedule now. NFL has become religion in the United States of America. Football itself, meaning college and pros, dominates the weekends from late August through January. That's what's going on, bro. It ain't gonna change. Don't you doubt it. You know why? Because you're talking about people's entertainments. That's why. It's not just a cause celeb that you're taking upon your shoulders and whatever the case may be. You're talking about people's actual enjoyment, people's reprieve from the ailments of everyday life. You think people are giving that up? They're not, and the NFL knows it.
See the opening letter from his frat brothers saying how they're 150,000 strong and something's not done.
My brother. When the Super Bowl takes place, how many people watch the Super Bowl?
15 millions.
Over 100 million. You do realize that, right?
Okay.
So if it's over 100 million, what's 150,000? What's 100? You know what 150,000 is, bro? Huh? You know what 150,000 is, Earl? Enough for 2 stadiums.
But then they tell their friends they're saying it's a snowball.
All right, let's say it doubles. Let's say it doubles or triples. Let's say it doubles or triples. What else you watching on Sunday? Reruns of Law and Order? Come on, man.
I got you. So then
Stop it.
I mean, all this out on the social media.
It means it amounts to nothing. It amounts to nothing. Earl, you're talking to the wind. It amounts to nothing. Stop wasting your time. Have a nice day. Enjoy football Sunday.
Give Stephen A. piece of your mind.
He is sorry.
Call him weekdays from 1 till 3 Eastern.
I mean, just trash.
At 866-729-3776.
Guess what?
You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it.
Let's get back to the phones. Got a lot of interesting phone calls to get to. 866-729-ESPN. That's 866-729-3776. By the way, NFL distanced itself from the 4 p.m. Eastern Time suspension deadline for Ezekiel Elliott earlier today. It says for years the NFL has observed a weekly deadline when it comes to the implementation of suspensions. If the suspension isn't finalized by 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday, that is today, the suspension gets delayed until the next week. The dynamic first became widely known in the latter days of StarCaps when it was clear that long-pending suspensions would be served, and a weekly trigger of 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday would determine whether that week would be the week. The NFL is now distancing itself from this past practice in the Ezekiel Elliott case, according to reports, telling league employee Tom Pelissero that there is no such rule. But Pelissero acknowledges that the Cowboys believe the deadline applies, per a league source. Ezekiel Elliott's camp believe the deadline applies as well. As one source explained to Pro Football Talk, Mr. Mike Florio, because I'm reading from an article he wrote, the practice arose from concerns of fairness and competitive balance. Teams need to know who they will or won't be putting on the field, and their opponents need to know who they will or won't be facing. It's unclear why the NFL is suddenly abandoning this practice. Maybe the person most keenly aware of it wasn't invited to the meeting. This is according to Mike Florio, a dig at the NFL in that last comment. Nevertheless, here's the deal. According to Mr. Henderson, the arbitrator hearing the appeal of Ezekiel Elliott, and a decision is expected to come down by the end of business day today. John, I'm imagining it's going to be about 4 o'clock. So Henderson is expected to make his decision. Some folks are anticipating he'll reduce the suspension from 6 games to 4 games. Others are expecting it to be kept at 6 games. In the event that he eliminates the suspension altogether and follows the advice of the lead investigator, Kia Roberts, Ezekiel Elliott could potentially get no games. But that is considered a long shot. Here is my position, ladies and gentlemen. I think Ezekiel Elliott should get 4 games. I don't give a damn what anybody says. And it has nothing to do with whether I believe he's guilty or innocent of the domestic violence allegations that have been levied against him by Tiffany Thompson, his former girlfriend, or somebody he was involved with. It has everything to do with his stupidity. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't make such a claim if you have a one incident with somebody, because anybody could accuse you of anything. I get that. I understand it. And you shouldn't be at the mercy of someone's allegations to disrupt your career and beyond. But when it's July 17th, 19th, and the 21st of 2016, and over the course of 3 specific days, 5 separate incidents take place, how the hell did you find yourself in that position 4 additional times? How? 4 different times. That's 4 plus the 1. The 1 time, sure. After that, where are your boys? Where's Coach Urban Meyer? Where's somebody for the Dallas Cowboys since they had just drafted you months earlier? Where are your teammates at Ohio State since you were in Columbus, Ohio? Where is somebody to be an eyewitness to shield you from all of that? Where are they? Why the hell did you find yourself in 5 separate incidences where this girl could involve the police and her mama? Literally, according to the 160-page report from the NFL investigation, her mama confirmed what she swore. And the police said basically it was consistent, or the NFL found rather, that the bruises on the arms and the back and the shoulders and all of this other stuff was consistent with what she proclaimed. How do you find yourself in 5 separate incidences? See, this is the damn problem with Roger Goodell. Roger Goodell, let me tell you what his real crime is. Roger Goodell doesn't know how to handle these things. Roger Goodell should get himself out of the appeals business. Roger Goodell should get himself out of the investigative business and all of that. Oh, shut up. It's stupid. That's not the problem with Roger Goodell. That is not the problem he has. The problem that he has is in simplifying things. I'm Roger Goodell. I'm the commissioner of the National Football League. It's my job to protect the shield. I have warned you time and time again not to stain and sully the shield by finding yourself in precarious situations. You did it. You're behind a sit down for 4 games. Bury it. I don't give a damn what you say. I'm not talking about your guilt or innocence with domestic violence. I don't know. I wasn't there. What I do know is that your behind should not have been in this situation. Damn it, you're sitting down. Big Ben Roethlisberger was accused of sexual assault. Wasn't arrested, wasn't indicted. Still got 4 games. How come the same can't be applied to Ezekiel Elliott? You found yourself in this situation. Period. I don't give a damn about your feelings. You're an idiot. What the hell you find yourself in this position for? That's not attaching guilt or innocence to it. You're actually protecting them by doing that. Because what you're saying is, I'm not investigating whether you're innocent or guilty or not. That's the job of law enforcement officials. What I'm investigating is the fact that you've sullied our name by having yourself attached to this incident, knowing it would stain the NFL shield. Your behind is sitting down. That's it. That's it. Nothing more complicated than that. And if you're wondering about my consistency, let me be clear. I think Bill Clinton was an idiot. Let me get this straight. I may have cheated on my wife in the Oval Office. And let me get this straight. I lied to her, but I'm going to tell you the truth. What do I look like, a new fool? Mind your damn business. Bill Clinton's problem was that he lied. That was the problem of the former president of the United States. He lied. All he had to do was say, kick rocks. I'm not answering a damn thing. What you gonna do? Impeach me? Go right ahead. Let Congress go and tell the world we're gonna impeach the president of the United States because he don't want to admit to us whether or not he was getting loose with an intern. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. Same principle here with Roger Goodell. Why are you making it so complicated for? You sit down because you're an idiot by finding yourself in this position five separate times. End of discussion. What are they going to do about it? Not a damn thing. Hour number 2 up next.
That's just a sample of what you'll hear on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on Sirius XM Channel 80 and the ESPN app.
What if I told you that even ordinary people can be on top of the world?
The first attempt on the North Pole by a team of women gets underway today.
The epic adventure will take them over 1,000 kilometers of hazardous sea ice.
It's thousands of miles of ice and nobody.
And so I found myself walking into this water and then sinking up to my neck.
I honestly thought I was going to die in the Arctic.
The all-new 30 for 30 podcast. Subscribe now on the ESPN app or Apple Podcasts.
30 for 30 podcast is presented by Mini. We're finding the best sports stories for you right now. And to do that, we're behind the wheel of the new Mini Countryman, the biggest Mini yet.
Please proceed to the highlighted route.
To find great sports stories, you have to get out into the world and follow your instincts. That's where the new Mini Countryman's all-wheel drive comes in handy. With all 4, we can chase down a story in the city, the country, and most places in between. No matter what story you're chasing, the new Mini Countryman will help you find it. It's available now, and so are 30 for 30 podcasts.
This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A. Now you see, special moments arrive. You know, I see the callers on the line. We got a lot of NFL, a lot of NBA stuff to get into. Let me tell y'all, I'm not usually in the predictability business because I can be a wild card from time to time. Let me tell you something that's very, very predictable. There will not be a single day, not a single day on television, on radio, or in the streets across America where you will not hear out of my mouth the date September 16th, Las Vegas, Nevada, Triple G versus Saul Canelo Alvarez for the middleweight crown. The fight of the year, maybe the fight of the decade, possibly one of the great, great fights of the last quarter century. I'm talking, this is something special. And it is my honor and privilege to have my next guest on the line, the promoter extraordinaire, the leader for Golden Boy Promotions, the one and only 10-time champion, Oscar De La Hoya, right next to me. What's going on, Big Time? How you doing, man?
All good, my man. Thank you.
How does this feel right now to have Mayweather and McGregor out of the way and all of this stuff, and now we get to lock in on Canelo Alvarez and Triple G? What is this like?
Well, I mean, look, the only good thing I think that happened with Mayweather and McGregor is that more people saw boxing.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So, which is great for the sport. And what I can tell those people is that, look, if you want to see a real fight now,
right,
then tune in to September 16th. I mean, the reason why I keep pushing this fight is because, like you said, this is a real fight. This is a middleweight fight that we haven't seen this type of fight take place in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
You have two top guys, two knockout guys.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know how to take a step going backwards.
Mm-hmm.
They're in the best shape of their life. They're going to bring out the best of each other. It's going to be a war.
It's interesting that you point that out because, and again, I'm not talking about Mayweather-McGregor. That's over. That's done with. But I will tell you what I appreciate. It made me appreciate the greatness of Alvarez and Triple G and guys like that even more, because if there was a benefit to peel from that fight, it's that you look at these guys in MMA and all the things that they could do, but you look at boxing and you think, oh, you're just punching. All you got to worry about is your hands. No. There's a lot to be said about guys that are great fighters, great boxers. And then I look at Canelo and I look at Triple G and I'm like, Lord, I just don't know what to say about this. Where are you at right now? Bless you. Where are you at with this right now, Oscar, in terms of how you see this fight coming together?
It's a pick 'em fight. It's a 50-50 fight. I mean, look, these guys have been fighters all their lives, boxers all their lives. They know how to move in the ring. They know how to throw punches from different angles. They know how to bob and weave. They know how to get out of trouble when necessary. They know how to knock you out. These guys are real fighters, real boxers. And so the fact that you have the two top guys in the middleweight division fighting in the same ring on the same night, I mean, this is one fight that you just don't want to miss, because it's going to be, I'm telling you, it's going to be like Hagler-Hearns all over again.
The great Oscar De La Hoya right here with Stephen A. Smith on ESPN Radio. When you talk about this fight, first of all, I'm getting somewhere with this. How long did this fight take to put together? For you?
About a year. A year.
If it were you fighting as opposed to being a promoter, how soon would the fight have happened?
I think it's perfect timing.
Okay.
Because Canelo was fighting at 147 and 154.
Right.
He did have a couple of fights at 155.
Yep.
But just last year with Smith, he fought for the junior middleweight title.
Yep.
Just last year. And so, now that he's moving up to middleweight, he's fighting the best guy in the planet in the middleweight division. So you have to wait for the guy to fill in.
But that's where I'm going, because you're the perfect person to ask this question to. Were you concerned at one time, not now, at one time, that he might be a little bit too small for Triple G, and let's see what he does? Was that the hold up to some degree?
That was the whole thing about it. I mean, it's
because he was ready to get in the ring against Triple G a couple of years ago.
Oh yeah, no, Canelo's not afraid of nobody. He would step in there with a heavyweight if he wants to, you know. But my thing was that, look, I've been there, I've done that. For instance, when I stepped up against Hopkins and got stopped with a body shot.
Yes.
Well, let me tell you, what if I had maybe 2 or 3 fights in the middleweight division? Maybe I would have done a lot better with Hopkins at that time, because I had more experience with these bigger guys and I can take the punch much better.
Right.
Same thing with Canelo, but the difference with him is that he's taking on the best middleweight right off the bat. From his first fight in the middleweight division, he's taking on the best. So, I mean, kudos to him.
How much does it help you, Oscar De La Hoya, as a promoter, to know boxing the way that you do from a fighter's perspective? There's obviously been great promoters that have been associated with the world of boxing and what have you, but they didn't fight. You fought. You were a champion on multiple levels.
Yeah.
How much does that help? How much has that helped you in promoting this fight?
Well, it's I'm speaking the truth. I laced up the gloves, and I know for a fact this is going to be a classic. This is going to be, I talked to my partner Bernard Hopkins, and he tells me, look, this is a great thing we're doing. at Golden Boy Promotions. We're giving the fight fans the exact fight that they've been wanting for a while now. And this is exactly what boxing needs, especially after the Mayweather-McGregor fight.
Let me say this. Let me put this on Front Street. Oscar De La Hoya has a fan in me. Ladies and gentlemen, the man looked me in the face. Okay? 8 months before, he said, Stephen A., this fight is going to take place in 2017. You delivered. We're all good.
I have the picture to prove it, too.
We're all good. We're all good. But here's the thing about Triple G, especially Canelo. They're so great. I don't know if I've seen them tested. Right. Like, I saw Triple G against Jacobs, and I'm like, Jacobs balloons so he can absorb more punches. I'm seeing Canelo, and I'm like this. Kirkland was no match for him. Liam Smith was no match for this guy. No. And even though he lost to Mayweather, I don't hold that against him. He was young and just got outboxed, but it wasn't like he was hurt or anything. Right. So I'm just like, I don't know who can take a punch because I haven't really seen them having to take punches.
Well, I mean, look, this type of fight is going to bring out the best of Triple G and the best of Canelo. We haven't seen the best of Triple G. I mean, we've seen him demolish everybody.
Yes.
We've seen him have an amazing fight and trouble against Jacobs. We've seen him adjust, and we've seen him change his style and be the elite fighters they are. But when you're fighting such dangerous opponents at the elite level, when you're fighting the very best, that brings out the best in you. Stuff that you didn't even know you can do, you're going to do on that night. And that's exactly what we're going to see with Triple G and Canelo.
All right, I'm putting Oscar De La Hoya, the 10-time champion, on the spot right here. I want each fighter. I want you're me. You're not Oscar De La Hoya. You're me, okay? I need evaluation. I need analysis. I need the analytical breakdown.
Okay.
Each fighter, let's go with Triple G first before we get to your guy.
Right.
What does Triple G have to do to beat Canelo?
Well, look, I mean, Triple G has to be Triple G, meaning he has to put on the pressure. He's the bigger guy naturally at 160. He has the confidence. He has obviously the man strength to go in there and be confident with his abilities. He has to show Canelo right from the start who's the boss. But that's his only game plan. That's his only game plan, because with Canelo, on the other hand, what he has to do is show Triple G who's the boss. He has to move him back, because Triple G can't fight taking a step going backwards. So Canelo, I mean, this is a double-edged sword.
Canelo really can't fight taking a step back?
No, Triple G can't. Triple G can't.
Okay, I was getting ready to say.
No, Triple G can't. Canelo can box.
All right.
He can box, he can move. But this is like a double-edged sword here, because look, Canelo has to face the Mac. He's got to charge the bull. He's got to go up against the bull, and they got to fight in the center, toe to toe. And Canelo has to push him back and show him who's boss.
Do you see this potentially ending early, Oscar De La Hoya?
I like 6 to 8 rounds of hell.
Let me tell you, I hope I don't offend you. I got Triple G winning this fight, but late. I got Triple G winning this fight.
I like 6 to 8 rounds of hell, and my boy's going to win.
I think that Triple G is going to win in 11. Not KO, but it's like the accumulation of punishment, weight. He's just a bigger puncher. He's going to come at him. But I am worried because, I like Canelo. I like him a lot. Yeah. And he's got power, plus he can box, and he's got the speed on him. I just don't know. I can't believe I'm saying this. I don't know if he could hurt Triple G.
Well, you got me sweating now because you know boxing.
I'm kind of scared about it. But you know what? I will say this, and correct me if you think I'm wrong. I see this potentially. I think a rematch is definite, because I think that it's going to be a sensational fight. I think it's going to be sensational. I think it's going to go late. Yeah. And whoever loses, I think it's going to demand a rematch, because I think it's going to be that close. What about you?
Well, I can see your crystal ball right in front of you, so you always know what you're talking about. But whatever the fight fan wants, that's all that matters. And so, I mean, all I know is that this fight's going to be a great fight, and may the best man win.
Is Canelo staying at the middleweight division no matter what?
Oh yeah, this is his weight class. He's settled in. Mm-hmm. He's he's a stocky guy, 160.
Yes.
He actually has trouble making 160, but he's perfectly fine right now where he's at.
Now, Little Birdie told me that Oscar De La Hoya was a little bit concerned because he's big and he's stronger than he's ever been.
He does.
You're worried about the speed?
I'm worried about the speed a bit. That's his big advantage, is his speed against Golovkin. So, You know, I wouldn't want to see him to go up too many pounds right after the weigh-in on Friday before the fight. So we'll see how they do it. He has a new strength and conditioning coach, so we'll see how they adjust. But I think Canelo's speed is a big factor.
I'm going to be at Radio Row the day before the fight. I'm going to try to get you on. I know you're going to be a very, very busy man. I'm going to try to get but you ain't got to worry about promoting. I'm going to be on here talking about this fight every day. Every day. This is what it's all about. I'm proud of you, man.
Thank you.
Phenomenal job putting this fight together. The great Oscar De La Hoya delivered on his promise, ladies and gentlemen. Said it was going to happen.
You pressured
in 2017, and
you pressured me. You pressured
me.
Man,
please. I owe you big time. I've been waiting for this for years. This is special. Oscar De La Hoya right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. Back with your calls in a minute.
Catch the Stephen A. Smith Show live on 98.7 ESPN New York, ESPN LA 710, and Sirius XM Channel 80.
You just can't make this stuff up.
Weekdays from 1 to 3 Eastern.
Okay, Kevin, for the grand prize of $1 million. What color is the White House?
I know this.
5 seconds.
Oh, switching to Geico could save you a bunch of money on car insurance?
Okay. Judges? That's true, Kevin. They'll allow it. Congratulations. You're a winner.
Woo! Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
The TV, seeing my man LL Cool J on the talk. Go ahead, bro. Keep doing your thing. By the way, that lip sync battle on Spike TV, that LL host, that's something special. That's something special. Every chance I get, I watch that show. I was still stunned that the guy that plays Spider-Man doing Rihanna turned it out. Before that, I thought Terrence Howard doing Rick James was the highlight, and Channing Tatum doing Beyonce. Those were my two favorites up until that kid from Spider-Man showed out. But that's just me. Spike TV, LL Cool J's joint, lip sync battle. It's special. It's special. But nothing's more special than Power on Stars. What a season finale. Amari Hardwick, 50 Cent, the crew. I mean, special. Special. Might be the best show on television. Power. That and Billions for Showtime. Oh, Lord. Oh, don't get me started. I mean, some of these shows, I don't even have time, but I make time because and of course, General Hospital matters. We can't forget that. Can't forget General Hospital. Anyway, back to the phones we go. At 866-729-3776. Thanks again to the great Oscar De La Hoya, promoter extraordinaire, for being on the show, sitting right next to yours truly, talking about this upcoming fight, September 16th, Triple G versus Canelo Alvarez. It's a big-time boxing match. Wasn't going to lament. We know how he feels about Floyd Money Mayweather going up against Conor McGregor, but this is a real fight, y'all. Conor McGregor was lucky he lasted that long against Floyd Mayweather. He really, really was. Because I'm trying to tell you right now, Triple G or Canelo would have knocked him out inside of 4 rounds. But this is going to be special. Waited for this for a long time. September 16th, Vegas. I'll be there. Steven, beautiful name. Live from Houston. You're live with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. I hope everything's all right there, bro, my man. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Just getting over the flooding and stuff right now.
Yes,
but
sir.
Family's safe. That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. Go ahead.
I want to talk about the Canelo and Triple G fight, man. So I know Canelo got beat by Mayweather at that age.
Yep.
Do you think that Triple G at that same age would have took a loss to Mayweather?
Triple G at that same age?
Yeah, Triple G at that age, Canelo was. If Triple G would have fought Mayweather.
Potentially. Probably so. Here's why. Canelo didn't lose because Mayweather hurt him or anything. Canelo lost because he couldn't touch him. Because Mayweather was a brilliant magician in the ring as a boxer. If Triple G can hit you just like if Canelo hits you, it'll hurt. The problem is they couldn't hit him. And Canelo is faster than Triple G. So if Canelo couldn't hit Mayweather at that age, Triple G probably wouldn't have been able to either.
I feel like it's an excuse, man. I just feel like Canelo, they say his age. I mean, I guess it's a valid excuse, but...
Listen. Don't waste my time with stuff that happened years ago. He was young. He was inexperienced and went in the ring against the master and lost because he couldn't touch him. You can't beat somebody if you can't touch him. So the issue is that it's just simple. Do you believe Triple G would have been able to touch Mayweather more than Canelo did?
I think he would have put up a better fight. But
would he have
I'm
touched
a Mayweather
him?
fan,
Would
so
he have touched
I don't
him?
think anyone could touch Mayweather.
Then you answered your own question. Have a nice day. CB in Pasadena, you're live with Stephen A. What's up?
Oh, man, I'm telling you, I'm packing my bags. I'm going to move to Vegas. I'm envying you going to Vegas. I wish I was out there for that fight. And Canelo's coming up in September. Oscar De La Hoya is one of our beloved people from Los Angeles, and I'm so proud of him also. And I can't wait for the Canelo fight. Now, what I wanted to talk to you about was that I see what you're saying about Mayweather. Mayweather keeps his hands up. He's a great defensive boxer, and he let McGregor punch himself out. And it was a thing of beauty. At first, I wasn't really...
Let's not make your point about Triple G and Canelo, because we've been talking about Mayweather and McGregor long enough. That's the past. This is the fight that's coming up now. What are your thoughts about this fight coming up?
I think Canelo, I think he's a little taller. He has the reach is a little further, and I think he would be the prohibited favorite, coming up in this fight. And it's going to be in Vegas. It's going to be real special. And I really think Canelo may pop him. What do you think?
Well, listen, Canelo's got the speed. He's got enough power, but I think that Triple G is so powerful. He's such a big-time puncher that I'm just of the mindset that when I look at Triple G, I just think he's going to be too big, too strong for Canelo, and he's going to wear him down and take him out in the 11th round.
Now, how old are these boxers?
Oh, my goodness. Canelo is approaching 30. Triple G is about 37, if I remember correctly. John, confirm that for me, please, the age of Canelo and Triple G. Triple G is about 37. He has an extensive amateur career, whereas Canelo is younger. But, again, I'm of the mindset that Triple G is just too big, too strong, and that even though Canelo's going to get his shots in, he's going to get worn down by Triple G, and that's the biggest thing. That's where I'm coming at with it.
How many rounds is the fight?
It's 12 rounds, and I'm predicting that Triple G's in the 11th. I appreciate the call. Thank you. JP in Brooklyn.
Thank you, Stephen A.
37 and what? 27 and 35. Triple G is 35. Canelo is 27. Got to go, CB. Thanks a lot. JP, you're live in Brooklyn. You're live with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. What's up?
What's up, Stephen? Look, you was 100% correct. Sometimes when you're right, you got to give you your props. With this Colin Kaepernick protest situation, it is impossible, for us to expect everybody to really back the Colin Kaepernick supporters when it comes to not watching the NFL. Why? Because the fans are not fans. We're fans from college. We watch these guys. I'm watching Reuben Foster. I can tell you what number Reuben Foster is wearing right now in the NFL. He's wearing 56. 56 to me is the greatest number of all times. Lawrence Taylor. I wanted to recruit Reuben Foster to come to the Giants. Now, I'm going to be watching. It's impossible for me to say, no, I'm going to stop watching something I've been doing for the past 20 years and get behind it. Colin Kaepernick had the right idea. The NFL is a stage. Use it. Use it wisely. This was the strategy these guys saying not to watch the NFL. It's not going to work. It's impossible. For us, everybody to really get behind this. There's
no way in hell some boycott of the NFL is going to happen. There's no way.
No.
There's no way.
It's not going to happen.
No
You're right.
They've successfully marketed themselves as an event. It's must-see, and people wait for their weekends. And they damn sure ain't going to stop doing it and interrupt or ruin their weekend because of a silent protest about the national anthem. They ain't going to do that.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
What they need to try something different. I say protesting inside the stadium, wearing your black T-shirts. People would see that there's eyeballs over there watching the NFL. It's impossible to do the way they want to do it. But look, the Giants. Let's talk about the power rankings. This is why another reason. Look, we follow these things. These are very important. We're ranked number 3. How long you think, how realistic you think that is right now, their status?
What you mean, is number 3?
The power ranking, New England, I think.
I don't pay attention. I don't pay attention to those power rankings like that. I mean, the list is around here. I can look at it. What I can tell you is this: I got the Giants winning the NFC East. I think the suspension of Ezekiel Elliott is going to stand at least 4 games. I think it's going to cost Dallas a game or 2, and as a result, the Giants, that should be enough for them to take over the NFC East. I'm not sleeping on the Eagles, but I think that letting go to Jordan Matthews and having Alshon Jeffrey and Torrey Smith, I think it takes some time to develop that chemistry with Carson Wentz, and I don't think that's going to be enough, and I think it'll compromise them. And I'm just not sold on the Redskins and Kirk Cousins. I look at the rest of the NFC. To me, the 2 teams to beat in the NFC are Atlanta and Seattle. Because Seattle picking up Sheldon Richardson from the New York Jets is huge, because it's bad enough the defense was already elite. Now you're going to even be even better at getting at the quarterback. Plus, Russell Wilson is healthier this year than he was last year. So I think that Seattle is a major, major threat within the NFC conference, even though for some inexplicable reason Snyder and Coach Pete Carroll haven't buffered the offensive line in front of Russell Wilson, which I don't understand. But it comes down to Atlanta and Seattle, to me, with Green Bay and the Giants looking on the outside in. That's how I view it, bro.
Guess what?
You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it!
To the phones we go, right here on the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio. Let's go to Mike in Cali. You're live with Stephen A. What's up, Mike? Talk to me.
What's going on, Stephen A., man? How you doing?
I'm good, man. Go ahead, buddy.
Well, I just called. I want to talk about the New York Giants. I heard you talking about the NFC East, and I really feel like the Giants, with the defense they got, Landon Collins, Janoris Jenkins, Eli Apple, Olivier Vernon, and Pierre Paul, all those boys over there, they could make a really strong run at the Super Bowl.
Here's my problem with your argument. Nobody has said a word about the Giants' defense. We're not questioning that. We're not questioning that. What we're questioning is the offensive line and their running game, and the fact that they seem to have an inability to protect Eli Manning.
Agreeable. If they could fix the offensive line, they could get.
You've been saying that. Hold on. If you like the Giants, you've been saying that for 5 years.
But I mean, you gotta like it with Eli Manning and Brandon Marshall and Odell and Sterling and all those boys. I think the offense can carry them. And remember, last year against the Falcons, they came real close to beating those guys in the playoffs. A couple of missed plays here and there. I like their chances of going to the Super Bowl, Stephen A.
I don't.
That's all I want to talk about.
Not in the NFC. Not with Atlanta and Seattle in the NFC. I don't like it. I can see them getting to a divisional playoff game, but I don't see the Giants going any further than that. I'm sorry. I appreciate the call, though. Let's go to Kenneth in Los Angeles. You're live with Stephen A. What's up, Kenneth?
Hey, Stephen. Just had a quick well, I actually had 2 questions for you. One is boxing. I didn't know you were an expert at it, so I'm going to ask your opinion. I was looking at an old YouTube fight about a month ago. It was Roy Jones versus some guy that I must have missed the fight. His name was like Joe Calgallen or something like that. He was some British fighter. But
Calzaghe?
It was like he told it. Calzaghe, that was his name. Okay. Calzaghe.
He's a former super middleweight champion. He's a former super middleweight champion in the world. Joe Calzaghe?
What do you rank him, man?
He was. Hold on, you asking questions and then talking, bro. You want me to answer you or not? I got to answer you, right? Calzaghe was a former super middleweight champion of the world. He was very gifted, very special. He just wasn't in Roy's class, but he was very good. Very good.
What do you mean in his class? Because he embarrassed Roy that fight.
That fight, Roy slipped though. You see what I'm saying? Roy, there's so much stuff that went on with Roy. Roy, let me tell you what the real problem with Roy Jones Jr. is. Roy Jones was never, ever, ever the same. Once he slipped from the heavyweight division, come back down to the light heavyweight division and the super middleweight division. When he moved up to fight Ruiz to win the heavyweight championship, he ballooned. Having to lose all of that weight, never the same. Never the same. But Calzaghe was really, really good.
Happened to run over that tape, over that fight, and I was like, who is this?
All right, I do need you to move on to a different subject, though, because I ain't going to spend too much time talking about Joe Calzaghe on this show.
Football, what do you think about the Carolina Panthers with a healthy Cam Newton?
I think Cam Newton, I don't think it's just about his health. I think it's about them protecting him, and I also think it's about Also, Christian McCaffrey. That was a big pickup because you can dip and dunk the ball to him, and he can make plays with his feet as opposed to calling for running plays for Cam Newton, exposing his body to more punishment. That's one of the reasons he hasn't been able to play this preseason, because he has to endure so much, because you're not just asking him to be the quarterback and take some hits and stand in the pocket. You're also calling running plays for him where he gets to go out there in between those tackles and have those 300-pound bodies laying on him. That's really, really the problem. Appreciate the call. Thanks a lot. By the way, Sloane Stephens is getting ready to go up against Venus Williams today. 2 African Americans, at an elite level in the world of tennis that ain't the Williams sisters. Only one of them is participating. Serena's home, mother to a new baby girl, if I remember correctly. Congratulations to her. I'm rooting for Venus, but this girl, Sloane Stephens, I'm rooting for her too. She's climbing the charts, and I hope that it lasts. I hope she's able to sustain this level of success and increase upon it. Let's go back to the phones. Let's go to Marcus in Houston. You're live with Stephen A. What's up, Marcus?
What's going on, Stephen A., man? First time caller, long time listener, man.
Okay, what's up? Thank you.
Just hear me out for a second, man. I know this might take a little longer, but just hear me out. I got a lot of people that's African American, black, that's saying that they're going to boycott the NFL of what's going on with Kaepernick. And, man, I understand and I respect people's opinion, but what I have an issue with is I'm a teacher. Been a teacher for 17 years, and I see a lot of atrocities that's going on in my community, African American community. And these same people that are talking about boycotting the NFL are the same people that don't want to speak up in the community when something happens to our children. These are the same people who wear don't snitch shirts because they don't want to tell when something happened to our kids. But you're talking about boycotting the NFL because of something that's happening to Colin Kaepernick. I'm with you. What's happening to Colin Kaepernick is an atrocity. What's happening to Colin Kaepernick is horrible, and he's being blacklisted. That's true. But don't give me this garbage about you boycotting the NFL because of what they're doing to Colin Kaepernick. Man, our kids are being killed in our community, and you're not saying nothing, not a thing. So miss me with you boycotting NFL and these white owners, so to speak, making all this money. Stop it. Speak up. Our kids are dying, man. And
Well, Marcus, you do know why. I appreciate your perspective, Marcus. I truly do, but you do know why these folks are not speaking up, right?
I understand, man.
No. You're not understanding me. I'm agreeing with you. It's a rhetorical question. They're not speaking up because what's really at the heart of this matter is that it's easy. The NFL, the white community, it's all an easy target. It's a hell of a lot more difficult to look at yourself, isn't it?
And again, Steven, man,
I'm talking about those folks that you alluded to, that you're going off about, that never say anything. That's what I'm talking about.
And I mean, this is in the millions, Stephen. This is not just a small community here in Houston. This is all over.
Yeah. Well, of course, it's not just Houston. We're talking about our community at large. Appreciate the call, bro. Thank you so much for the call. Appreciate that profound insight because you're absolutely on the money.
Want to be a part of the show? Hit Stephen A. up weekdays from 1 to 3 Eastern at 866-729-3776.
Guess what?
You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it!
Promised that I would allude to the Cavs. Let me get this out the way real quick. The Cleveland Cavaliers, they could talk about considering moving the pick they acquired via the trade with Boston, which is really Brooklyn's number one pick, but they traded it to Boston years ago for that Paul Pierce KG trade to Boston, and now Boston traded it to Cleveland. If Cleveland tries to move that pick, they might try to package Kevin Love. They got to make sure they get equitable, if not better, compensation. That's what they got to make sure they do. Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Love plus that pick is worth what? Now, everybody wants Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is a superstar player. Top 3, 4 in the league, easy. Should be number 1 in the year or two, if not earlier. Brother averaged 28 and 12. He can defend 4 different positions. He's that legit. He just plays with New Orleans. But if I'm the Cavs, I'm trying to package him, and I'm trying Love and the pick for him. I don't know what else they can get to come to Cleveland, but it remains to be seen. But everybody wants. If I'm Boston, I'm willing to give up those picks that I have to get my hands on Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis with Gordon Hayward and Kyrie, If I'm Boston, I'm willing to give that up too. And they got a lot of assets to give up to get him. But we'll see. Chris in L.A., you're live with Stephen A. What's up?
Hey, Stephen A., man, I'm going to have to call you out on this one. It's the first time I've ever heard you lie on your own show, man. You said Power was the best show on television. Completely disagree with you, man. That's first take. Now I got that out the way.
Okay.
I want to touch on...
I can go with that. I can go with that. It's not Power that's the best show on television. It's first take. Okay, I go with that. My bad.
Absolutely, Stephen A. Absolutely. Okay, with that out the way, I want to touch on this whole Cavs ordeal and the whole trading whole first pick and trying to put that together with Love to get Anthony Davis. My whole thing is it's all predicated on what happens with LeBron a year from now. Because even if they do get compensation that's well enough to maybe compete with Golden State, I don't think LeBron deep down mentally doesn't believe they can beat Golden State. So with that being said, and obviously a first-round pick, it's not a proven commodity, Stephen A. If you get Anthony Davis, prove it. You get a Kevin Love, prove it. So that's tough to orchestrate that with other teams with unproven commodity. So with that being said, I have a question for you. When you say LeBron is all about his brand and he's the ultimate businessman, I completely agree with you. With that being said, in a few years from now, is LeBron more focused? Here's a question, Stephen A. Is LeBron more focused on his image and his business after basketball, or do you believe he's still chasing championships? I'm conflicted. I really don't know.
I believe he's doing both, but I believe that even knowing that he may lose, he still wants to be in the equation because it still keeps his brand elevated, which is good for his business. I got to go, but that's the best way to answer that question. Mike in L.A., you're live with Stephen A. Real quick, Mike, go ahead.
What's going on, Stephen A.? How you doing, man?
I'm good. Talk to me. What's up?
I want to get to the Aaron Donald situation, right? But before you say something, I'm all for an athlete getting his money, especially playing football where you put your body on the line week in and week out, right? But when it comes to the detriment of the team, like it's going to most likely be this Sunday if he's out, I think he's outright being
Who
selfish.
the hell are you talking about? Who are you talking about?
Aaron Donald. I'm talking about Aaron Donald.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Him missing Sunday, how impactful he is on the team.
You're wrong. You know why you're wrong, Mike? Because it's football. And because it's football, if it were any other sport where your contract is guaranteed, is lock, stock, and barrel, and is good to go, that's fine. But you're the NFL, you got a hard cap. You can soften the cap up. You can restructure. You can force guys to take a pay cut. You can waive them or cut them. But they can't sit up there recognizing that over $100 million is on the table available to them. You're barely giving them $2 million, and you expect them to go on the field? Damn that. Hell with that. Talk to me another day. BJ in Pasadena, you're live with Stephen A. Go ahead.
What's up, Stephen A.? What's happening?
Hurry up, man, and stop with the Barry White voice. You got listeners here. We can't understand that. Hurry up. Speak up.
All right, so 50% of the time, man, I agree with you. But this time, man, you 0 for 0 for 0. For one, Canelo's going to beat Triple G. That's going to happen.
Well, I'm not 0 until September 16th, bro. They ain't fight yet, so we'll find out. Wait until the 17th to call me with that, or the 18th. Go ahead.
I'm only talking about what we agree on. I'm saying I definitely disagree on that one. He's gonna school him. He's gonna take the Mayweather experience and put it on Triple G.
I got you. What's your second point?
The second point is the whole blackout with the NFL. Now, I know you're saying it's not gonna happen, and it probably won't, but I think it should. I think.
I never said that it should or shouldn't. I said it won't happen.
Right.
So I got a minute and a half. I got a minute and a half left. So hurry up.
I ain't watched nothing this year. I just shut it down.
Oh, so how many? Wait! Stop it! How many people doing what you just did, BJ?
I mean, I don't know.
Then you know good and damn well everybody ain't doing that. You know good and damn well most people ain't doing that. You know that you're an aberration. You know good and well that people in your inner circle are gonna watch some football on Sundays. Tell me I'm lying.
You telling the truth. You telling the truth. And then you had the one guy. He was pretty emotional. Not to knock down his emotions, but he's going on about crime in the cities and all that stuff. My brother's a cop in Chicago, and I say this. You can't because somebody's standing for one thing. You can't bash them for something else. I mean, what's going on there? If somebody was rallying, if they was doing something, I'll be behind that too. You know what I mean? So because I'm doing this thing with the NFL, don't bash me because there's some other issues going on. That ain't.
Well, I agree with
either.
that. We don't disagree there. He shouldn't be bashing anybody for watching NFL games. So it's 2 out of 3. I got you. I appreciate the call, BJ. Marty in L.A., you only got 30 seconds, but go ahead.
Angels hot, Dodgers not. They're going to lose the first round of the playoffs. No pitching.
Oh.
This is a feel-good season for the Dodger fans, but the reality of it is the pitching. I'd rather have an average hitting team with great pitching. It'll take you all the way to the World Series.
You know what it is, Marty? Let me say this to you real quick. You know why I disagree with you? They may not win the World Series. I give you that. I'm not worried about the Nationals as much because Harper's been hurt. The Cubs are somebody I would watch out for. But I got to tell you something. I'm not going to sleep on what Kershaw is going to do this year because I don't expect him to be fatigued because he was out on the DL. And then when you think about the Angels, no matter how hot the Angels are, and they were slept on and completely underestimated, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Dramatic win this past Friday. I get that. But at the same time, I'm not sold on the Angels either. I think they'll make the wild card spot, but I'm not sold on them. I think the Dodgers got a chance, Marty. I think they got a better chance than you realize. Got to get on out of here. Talk to you tomorrow. Until then, 22 hours from now, this is Stephen A. Smith signing off from the Stephen A. Smith Show. Peace and love, everybody.
That's just a sample of what you'll hear on the Stephen A. Smith